first event for FinTech after COVID-19. This is our first roundtable, The End of Cash. Isn't that a controversial title? I'm really excited for what this is going to entail. We also have a fantastic lineup of speakers today. I'm really excited. With us today, we have Jon Jones from Unity Chain. We have Radboud Blar from Finch Capital. We have Videa Mike from Questus Solutions. Luis Vieira from, he's an executive board member from the Portuguese FinTech and InsurTech Association. And we have Ana Maj, who is from PricewaterhouseCoopers. So this is a group of titans. I'm really excited. All of you are very highly respected in your fields. And I'm looking forward to doing as little talking as possible and letting all of you share your knowledge with everyone. My name is Jason Shuster, and I'm representing BizzTalk today. Let's go ahead and get this thing going. Getting started, I like to give each speaker about a minute, pretty short, about 60 seconds to maybe a minute and a half. Tell us who you are, what you do, and that way the audience can have just kind of an idea of where your perspective is coming from, if that makes sense. So as you're giving your advice, people can understand. Okay, they're saying that from this kind of point of view. I'm going to say let's get started with Jon, and we'll just kind of go down the line. And once we're done, then we'll get to the first topic.
All right, thank you, Jason. This is an exciting event. Quickly introduce myself. So my name is Jon Jones. I'm the co-founder of Unity Chain. And Unity Chain is a blockchain-based venture studio based in Taipei, Taiwan. And we have been focusing on different areas of blockchain, FinTech, and IoT. One of the companies that we've actually started is called GTS.network. And GTS is essentially a central bank digital currency platform. We work together with the Taiwan government. The Taiwan government, or the central bank here, had an RFP to create a central bank digital currency platform that would essentially create a system that would work similar to China's central bank digital currencies platform, but have more of a private, kind of protect the consumer's privacy a little bit more, so to speak. So we created a platform that had built-in governance and had one aspect of kind of like privacy cache, so to speak. And so that's one of the platforms that we've been working on, GTS. We also have a company called AgroTrack, and AgroTrack is a food supply chain platform. And also another company called Trailit, and Trailit is a content curation platform, and it's powered by a browser add-on. And so yeah, I run a venture studio, and I do a lot of things here. I'm based in Asia. Just really happy to be a part of this event amongst a lot of you powerhouses, and just, yeah, happy to be here.
Awesome. Thanks, Jon. Glad to have you here as well. Yep. Ana, can you introduce yourself? Give us just a quick, minute and a half on your background.
Yeah, so good afternoon, good evening, I don't know, good morning for some people, and welcome. I'm really pleased to be part of this FinTech COVID event. And yeah, so I'm a FinTech leader at PwC, and I'm driving the FinTech agenda and just building collaboration models between banks and FinTech startups. I've been in payments and other innovative financial services for almost 20 years, having started with at Citibank. So I introduced just online payment gateway and some mobile wallets to the market. So I'm based in Europe. I have focus in Central Europe, and I'm also basically jury member and expert for European Innovation Council when we finance innovative companies across European Union, and my expertise is in payments and open banking, including, of course, digital payments. And as you, Jason, mentioned before, I'm co-author for the AI book, as well as the PayTech book that was published, or they were published by Wiley and FinTech Circle. I'm also lecturing open banking course at Center for Finance Technology and Entrepreneurship.
Excellent. Awesome. Really glad to have you here today, Anna. Videa, glad to have you back.
Thank you. It's nice to be back. It's very nice to be back. So, hi everybody. I'm Videa Mike. I run Quest Solutions for a number of years. We worked with startups, and I mean very closely. It's kind of helped them grow a little bit, get funding, and then we have COVID. I also do a lot of interim positions or take up proper CFO positions. And what I've done is I have actually also created a fund, because one of the things I noticed for a lot of these startups is that it's really a struggle to get funding. But they're also in a little bit of la-la land, because when you ask them to do some predictions, they think, let's just multiply our numbers and we'll be as big as Google in 3 years. But the reality is, this is not how the world works. And we've seen with COVID how the world changed drastically in 3 months, in 2 months, in 2 weeks. So that change, if we cannot be agile, we have, it's going to be a problem, because this is not one-off. We're going to be prepared for the world to be a little bit more different every single time. And to be agile, it means that the way we know how things work, we had to completely almost rewrite that book.
Absolutely, absolutely. Very glad to have you here. And we're not going to be as big as Google in 3 years. We're thinking 4 years. So we're not in la la land at all. We're fine.
We don't need to be Google. That's the thing.
That's right. That's right. Luis, can you introduce yourself? Give us just a minute and a half on your background, and then we'll finish with Redboud, and then we'll get moving on our first topic.
My name is Miguel, Luis Miguel Vieira. I'm from the Portuguese FinTech Association. Here we are working in 8 verticals: blockchain vertical, crowdfunding. We have a good group of crowdfunding, AI, InsurTech, and we are at this moment working hard on the open banking vertical, and it's not easy for us because it's a long, hard way. Also, we have a payments working group, and before the pandemic, we are launching a pilot of cashless society here, because the penetration of contactless payments is very low here, and we have to do something for that, and we will have a pilot to see what we can do. Also, we are working on the impact of 5G in financial services, and it's all that we are working on.
Excellent, excellent. Glad to have you. And sorry, Miguel, I kept calling you Luis. I apologize. Miguel,
it's the same.
Nice to meet you. Radboud, tell us a little bit about yourself and kind of your background.
Yeah, so my name is Radboud. I'm based in Amsterdam, Netherlands. Set up Finch Capital. So we invest in Europe and in Southeast Asia via different funds, focus on financial technology, AI and IoT. A lot of the AI and IoT is linked to financial services, so they basically either use these services or sell their products and solutions to financial institutions. And the way we define financial technology sector-wise is it includes banking, payments, wealth, InsurTech, and also PropTech, the real estate side. So we are a team with offices in Amsterdam, London, and Jakarta, and then we have desks in Ireland and Singapore. It sounds very fragmented, but in the world of lockdown, actually, it helped a bit to have people in different geographies, and it's a mix of background of the different people that have worked at startups, big tech companies. I think about the Advents, funding circles, Facebook, as well as investment firms like Excel and Kasana.
Excellent. Awesome. Really glad to have you. very, very diverse backgrounds. I think that we're going to get some really, really interesting opinions, and overall, I think we're going to have a really awesome discussion here today. So the format we're going to do is try to keep answers kind of short, maybe 2.5 minutes each. And we're going to go through 4 topics, and then we do need to end on the hour. Historically, we have gone over on time many times here at BizzTech. We're going to try and keep it to 1 hour today. So first topic, kind of the big one, and I think it's a good way to get us started. We've been talking about in FinTech for a long time about the inevitable end of cash coming at some point. The big question is COVID-19 that catalyst that accelerates the process? Is COVID-19 an event that's really going to spell the end of cash more so than other other things that have happened here in the last few years or emerging technologies? No particular order. Let's just try and get to everybody. So whoever wants to get us started, go ahead and get going, and we'll get to everybody. Anna, you want to give that?
Yeah, I can definitely start, because as I said, I'm so much about payments, and I've been in payments for almost 20 years, as I said, just having launched so many innovations, including online and offline worlds. So I will start with that. So of course, this is not a very clear answer, but definitely COVID can be a catalyst. And of course, end of cash, just has been announced many times, just even like 20 years ago, even, before that, when the plastic cards, came into play. But now I really witnessed like at least 2 phenomena. So first we talk about the cashless payments, which is quite obvious. So when we are trying to reduce, the cash in the economy. So of course, this really, can be observed in both offline and online worlds. So in a physical world, and also, in the e-commerce. And for, especially for the offline, in the physical stores, of course, just we can see the, the proliferation of, just card-based or wallet-based payments. So basically, just cashless payments. And even, contact payments, when we have like, increase of limits for the contactless payments all across Europe, in UK, in Poland, and so on. But this is one thing. And of course, if we talk about the cashless payments, there are like different layers. The next layer is like, digital payments. So they have to be like a truly digital, not cashless only. And of course, plastic card is not a digital payment. So we can talk about virtualization or tokenization, but of course about, digital wallets. And what we can observe also in the e-commerce, this is quite interesting. So of course, just this is like, just the reduction in terms of the cash on delivery or even payment on delivery. So of course, there's some more and more online payments, truly digital payments. So the next level I would like to mention here is, of course, invisible payments. So frictionless, seamless payments. And of course, if we talk about e-commerce and online ecosystem, you can truly experience that. So I would really say that, of course, it's very much related to the payment method, but of course you have to, in a way, make it digital, and not only talking about card and card-based wallets, but also about like just to trying to come to the conclusion, because of the time, just to talk about the open banking phenomenon as well, when we talk about account-to-account payments and bank account payments, not only card-based transactions or payments. So probably we'll come back to that, later on. So just to pass on to my colleagues. Thank you.
Absolutely, absolutely. Radboud, you were the next person that had spoken up. We'll go to you, and then we'll keep on going down the line.
Yeah, so I think this depends very much on the country you're in. So I think if you take the Scandinavian countries and the Netherlands, I think they are pretty cashless already. I think a lot of people don't use cash in general. I think if you look at countries like Germany, I think this will be an acceleration. So in general, I think the world was moving already to more cashless as a whole. And I think on that curve, some countries were further advanced. So yes, will it accelerate? I think temporary, yes. When we go back to whatever normal is defined in a couple of weeks or a couple of months, the question is whether people that were used to using cash will go back to that, or they have adapted. For sure, there will be some faster converters than before, and I think in general people are more familiar with it. But I would say it's a general trend, and there are lots of countries and lots of age categories and profiles that are not using cash anymore at all, or a bare minimum. But time will tell. I think in general it will accelerate, but I don't think 3 months will make us cashless. I think a lot of people were forecasting that already 20 years ago. So it still will take some time.
Absolutely, absolutely. Great perspective. Appreciate that. John, saw you unmute there. You want to keep us going, and then we'll go to Videa and then Miguel, and then we'll move on to our next topic.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks, Jason. So I agree that it is contextual. It's country by country. We saw China years ago with WeChat go digital very quickly, and this was before COVID, right? But I definitely think that COVID is a catalyst for a lot of different countries. I'd like to know more from Luis's point of view in Portugal. But for example, in Taiwan, where I'm based, Taiwan has been planning for years now to give digital banking licenses. So for example, recently, Taiwan has issued 3 digital banking licenses to a chat platform called Line, similar to WeChat, but in like Japan, Korea, Taiwan, and some Southeast Asian countries. It's given a license to Changhua Telecom Company and Rakuten, which is an e-commerce platform. And so, we have been seeing this transition into a cashless society here, even before COVID. But now I think people are thinking about it more, and I think it's a time to make quicker or fast decisions. Also, Taiwan, like I mentioned before, is working on a central bank digital currency platform. So Taiwan is going to be issuing a central bank digital currency. And so I think this will expedite this process as well. But yeah, I'm excited to see country by country, how COVID makes a difference. So it'd be interesting to hear from Luis, maybe in Portugal, like how he mentioned that in Portugal there is very little contactless payments. So how can you go from very little to, full-on digital currency?
That's a great question. And if it's all right, Videa, I'd like to go to Miguel, and then we'll let Videa.
Miguel, oh yeah, go for it.
Okay.
Go ahead, Miguel.
Thank you, Jason. I think that this COVID pandemic will have a remarkable growth in card processes and using contactless technology and in online shopping. Here in Portugal, in the past, we have only a few contactless payments. And now with this crisis, we know big crisis provoke big changes, and one of the most noticed is the decrease, the hard decrease of the using of banknotes and coins. Of course, physical money has been falling for a long. In a few years, we think that payments, coins and banknotes will be only residual. This process will be very accelerated with this crisis. And the reasons for the decline of the use of physical money are very well known. But we, first of all, we have to remember that it's important, don't forget the enablers of the digital money. That is the existence of internet, mobile networks, and fast and ubiquitous terminals that allows a very great variety of new means of payments. Contactless and non-contactless cards have also been used for years, but now there are hard reason is the hygienic reasons here highly evaluated for everybody. We make we ask people why they don't want to use coins, and everybody are fear for the hygienic reasons. So in fact we have an opportunity, and it's different, as if many companies in several countries are making different but great efforts to set up their operation for cashless. Here, every companies, every supermarkets have now cash contactless payments, and it's I think we can have a good way with this. Of course, we measure we can measure these payments changes looking to the numbers of the withdrawal in the ATMs, and we are seeing a great change.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you, Miguel. Videa, what are your thoughts?
Okay, I'll go at speed because I'm going to cover a lot of ground.
Good.
The first thing here is that we're seeing more and more drive on acceptance of a CBDC model. There's a lot of countries actually talking about it a little bit more. So adoption at the central bank level, who are saying, you know what, yeah, we need to do something, we need to do this, means that technology is no longer just trying to push this to make it happen. With COVID, specific to your question, has it made the adoption faster? I'll tell you what it has done. It's changed, it's leveled the playing field, so to speak. So you have people who were trying to buy anything at one point in time because they were like, look, we're not going to get this at all. So you have the growth of so many small entrepreneurs and businesses that never actually had that part of the market because it was covered by supermarkets or the big giants who couldn't deal with supply and demand. So now we have some of these smaller businesses started to pop up, and they may not have been cashless before, but there's certainly a drive for it. You know, all these loyalty cards, everything, if you wrap it into a nice platform, like what Jon has, you have all of a sudden part of the environment starting to move and being driven to a cashless society because they have to. Now, location is key, and Jon, you sort of, you know, mention that as well. And Miguel, you answered from a Portugal perspective. I'm originally from the Caribbean. So I have been working with a fantastic group. I'll send the detail called tentum.com. And what they have is they have an amazing platform, which means that you could take a small island, put it on their architecture, get them into a digital currency in about 12 weeks. So I introduced them to Anguilla. I know most of the premiers in the Caribbean. And, you know, I'm going to introduce them to the Caribbean throughout. And these guys are actually saying, you know what, this is really good. When we have tourists and people coming into our islands, they don't need to worry about converting currency, because here's the other thing the digital currency does. It makes it so much easier to convert currency. So we see WeTransfer, how it changes the way you could send money around. We have the same opportunity here. So cashless society is not just a one-to-one payment. It's actually cross-border. It is dealing with issues in how people convert. Some of these islands have a restriction on what currency you could use. So all of a sudden, those sort of restrictions start to go away. So you can see trade becoming a lot more buoyant. You can see the ease happening. But because this is done on a blockchain platform, more than likely, you have transparency and you have the reduction of cyber fraud and those sort of things. So it starts to actually make it a lot more attractive and something that people could mass adopt. So is it a catalyst? Certainly is a catalyst in my view.
Awesome. Excellent answers from everyone. Thank you so much. All right, well, let's kind of roll into the next thing. If we are moving closer and closer towards the end of cash, what kinds of repercussions could that come with? Maybe some unintended consequences. One that was brought up that we wanted to discuss here is the end of cash also maybe tied a little bit to the end of privacy? Privacy is another big hot topic. What do you guys think? Videa, you're still unmuted. You want to just keep...
Yeah. Well, I sort of touched on it, didn't I?
We'll go to Videa and then Jon, and then we'll just keep it going.
Yeah, I sort of touched on it. You have so much crime and cyber fraud and people identity being stolen. It is, you know, and it is even more prominent now with what's happening, you know, with COVID. People are not getting their mail, they're losing their identity. There's so much issues that's happening and everything has to be purchased online. So certainly I see it, you know, as that's just the next step. It sort of has to roll into each other.
Okay.
Yeah.
Excellent thoughts. John, how about you?
Yeah, so one thing I think we need to address with the end of physical cash is privacy of small peer-to-peer transactions. You know, as we go totally digital, it's some might say that it's a human right to have some sense of privacy to buy smaller items. When I go to the convenience store, I want to feel that the government or Facebook or whatever you know, e-commerce platform or you know, FinTech payment solution isn't storing my small purchase data and might understand this, and then use AI to fully understand me as an individual, my purchasing history, and what I will purchase in the future. So this is something that would probably need to be addressed in terms of privacy, is these small peer-to-peer transactions that, that cash, physical cash provided. Physical cash is the you know, most anonymous form of payment, right, for small transactions. And so this is something that we studied through GTS and through our central bank digital currency platform, and also with the Taiwan government creating an RFP. How do you actually mimic these small payments? How do you mimic physical cash and the anonymity, you know, the anonymous aspect of physical cash? How do you mimic that? And the good news is that we have technology to do that. Using cryptography, we can actually create a system where peer-to-peer transactions, you can make it so peer-to-peer transactions on a smaller level, let's say under 1,000 or 5,000 US dollars, can actually remain anonymous and you know, simple peer-to-peer transactions. And I think that's important when we are entering a digital world. There needs to be some aspect of privacy for these smaller payments when I go to the convenience store, for example. And so, but the issue is, in the next 5, 10, 15 years from now, as we go completely digital, these things, central bank digital currency is not going to be set up tomorrow. It may be in China, but it's going to take time. So we're going to have this period, 5, 10, 15 years of privacy concerns, because maybe this is not going to be set up where we have anonymous transactions, you know, through central bank digital currency, whether it's in Taiwan or Portugal or the US. And those are some things that we should be talking about. We should be talking about whether a company like Facebook should, you know, set up a digital currency platform like Libra, and whether people should actually use it, you know, because there are privacy concerns. Using blockchain is wonderful for protecting, you know, from hacks. It's wonderful distributed system that can't be tampered with. There's no one central point of failure, but everything is tracked and traced. Everything can be tracked to the origin. And so those are really great aspects of a digital ledger like that blockchain can create. But the privacy aspect of that is what's concerning, I think. And so that's why we need to eventually set up a system with central bank digital currency that has peer-to-peer, smaller peer-to-peer transactions being anonymous. That's
I like that.
Yeah, maybe in the spirit of the discussion, I think completely the opposite. So
that's all right.
if people have no issues sending the most personal or private messages over WhatsApp, text, email, and whatsoever. If you look at how many people still send physical letters, and it's peanuts. I think there are more privacy issues with a personal letter than that someone knows that you bought bananas in a supermarket. So if you see how many people have shifted their personal text without, and I think there are way more privacy issues with Facebook, the way they deal with WhatsApp and other messages than they do with digital currencies or currencies. So I don't think the reality privacy is such an issue. I think a lot of issues have been with people that don't want fiscal authorities to know how money has been flowing, where physical money was a much easier way than digital money because a lot of things digitally can be traced. So I don't think that privacy is going to be, I think privacy in general is an issue, but for payments, the question is whether those that have privacy issues, whether that's maybe something which in general is an area that people have issues with, because looking at other areas, people were very comfortable moving from physical to digital, whether it's mail, postcards, you name it.
Yeah, so let me build on that. So basically,
Sure.
so there is and there will be always like a kind of trade-off or a leverage between like easiness of use, convenience, user experience, and security, including data protection, and especially what Redwood said, if we are talking about payments or transactions, there is always a kind of regulatory framework involved. So if we are talking about transactions, so we all know the AML or KYC, you know, rules that are in place for, you know, all types of transactions. And this is a kind of, you know, just security layer that can be avoided. So what I wanted to raise here, because you, Jason, you asked about some repercussions or some, you know, consequences. Of course, if we are talking about payments and more going digital, and they in a very data-driven or data-intensive ecosystem, the more we go into the data, then, you know, the data protection issue, including privacy, is a really valid point. And, you know, there are some attempts, of course, in Europe, just to, in terms of open data, also digital identity, to passport the digital identity, and it's very closely related to payments, to transactions, to banking services, all the transactions you can conduct. So I think this is one of the, you know, sides of the story, but I'm not pessimistic about that, because, you know, just you can't compromise too much on privacy, but still, you know, just there are some like, you know, data protections rules, GDPR, and consent management. So you have to make your, like, you know, just a consent just to use the data. But this is one thing. And of course, you know, it enables further for digital verification, digital onboarding. So many services, not only financial ones, but of course, banking, financials, and, you know, just payments are at heart of that. And, you know, just to use your data in order to be onboarded or to use any other services. But having said that, I also see another point here that, you know, in terms of, you know, results and consequences from going, you know, cashless or, you know, digital. Of course, we can't skip, like, you know, just value added services or any other payment related services, because of course, you know, payment is like a kind of, you know, a part of the entire shopping experience. And we have the examples in Asia, of course, with WeChat Pay, with Alibaba. So definitely this is a lifestyle, you know, just service more than, you know, any financial service or banking service. So definitely we have, like, you know, just a lot of services, and we will witness more of these services that are related to payments, especially to invisible payments. Like we have instant payments, instant crediting. We have a lot of, you know, messaging services, data-driven services that are like around payments, and payments, they can be really invisible in this. So it's not only privacy, but it's very much related to data, but also use cases that you can build on this data, and services that can be, you know, at the end of the day provided to the customers and end users.
Excellent, excellent. Love that. Miguel, you wanna round us out on this one on privacy?
Yes, if you, of course, just the end of cash will clearly decrease our privacy. Money is anonymous and difficult, very hard to track. But despite many legislative advances in direction of the protecting of the personal data and knowing that the data related to financial transactions cannot be used for commercial or marketing purpose, for instance, the average user has a particular fear of the tax authority that in the end can access to the taxpayer data, and it's a problem for lots of users. Of course, there will always be a necessary choice between development of digital payments methods and the loss of our privacy. I fully agree with what Jon talked about the micropayments, but there is always be a necessary choice between the digital payments evolution and loss of our privacy. We cannot forget that, and Abdul talk about this, and I fully agree with him. We cannot forget that the big tech companies have access to a large amount of data from their customers, some provided in a conscientious and voluntary way, and other data in the form of mandatory authorizations for the use of their applications, the vast majority of times given and voluntarily. In fact, I think it's always useful to see what happens in China in terms of payment system. Long time ago and during this pandemic, the reality is that in terms of cashless society, China is far ahead of the West, and we know what happens in terms of privacy. We think that we know. So, while many may lament the loss of physical money, some say that a society without physical money will be safer, simpler, and more efficient. And it is very interesting, and it can recover for the formal economy all the money that circulates in the informal economy, and every government are paying attention to this. In the cashless society, potential loss of freedom and personal privacy arises. We can do nothing with this. Many people also think that it's easier to control their financial life with cash, and this is a hot topic. Lots of people like to have the physical money in the pocket. I think it will be in this case, in this discussion, it will be hard to judge the true impact of COVID-19 until the economy opens up and recover completely. And I think the pandemic has certainly not changed many of the main reasons why people use money, including the convenience and the lack of access to bank accounts. We have to note that lots of people doesn't have bank accounts, and FinTech can make something about this.
Sure thing, absolutely. Excellent perspectives. A couple of differing opinions, but I think overall, I think that this was fantastic on privacy. I don't know if we're going to get to all the topics, so I would say I think that this topic, because it's kind of broad, I think it's going to probably take up the rest of the time we have. But if we can try to keep answers to 2 to 3 minutes max, I'd like to hear from everybody, and then end on the hour. So this is the last thing then. In your opinion, this is not what will it look like, but what should the future digital economy look like, right? So it's not necessarily a prediction, but what should it look like? Who wants to take us off on that one?
From a payments perspective, or like everything, because digital economy is.
Well, let's keep it as it relates to FinTech. All right, I mean, that's digital economy is kind of broad, but as it relates to FinTech and kind of the discussion that we've had so far, what should that economy look like? Let's go Radboud and then John.
Yeah, I don't think it will look much. I think a lot of the elements are in place for a pretty good digital economy. So I think it's more adapted, it's more frictionless. And I think if everybody is more digital savvy and using it, I think that will enable for more frictionless solutions. I think there will always be areas where there will be a human touch. I think there will always be some alternative sources of payment rather than the pure digital way. I think if there is no physical cash, maybe people start exchanging in gold or alternatives. I think there will always be a need for some, whether it's driven by a black economy or for people that have lack of trust in existing ways. So I think always availability of some alternatives, but it will be way more frictionless, like transferring money will be easier abroad and more instant than it is today. And ideally the trust remains in the system because I think without trust, a digital economy is way harder than a physical economy, because at least you can see and trust the goods you will get in exchange or source. So I think as long as trust stays in place, I think a digital economy is great. The moment it's gone, it will be a drama.
Excellent. Appreciate that. John, how about you? What do you think? What should it look like?
So first of all, I'd like to agree with Rad, just that I believe that we will always have some sense of physical currency. If not, we'll use gold or we'll barter, but we need to be able to go to an ATM when our phone has no battery. We need to be able to go somewhere and get something to exchange for goods. If we're talking about an ideal solution, an ideal future of what a digital economy would look like, I think that would need to be there. We'd have to have the choice and the freedom for physical cash. Now that said, I also believe that the future of a digital economy would need a central, and I touched upon this earlier, would need a central bank digital currency platform set up by the local government or the government. And there would need to be some sense of privacy for micropayments. I believe that when most of the payments are digital, we need to have some privacy for smaller payments. And I do think it's an issue. We talked a lot about Facebook and e-commerce platforms that have all this data on us, whether it's through text or it's through the people that we're connected with, or it's the things I like, or it's our purchases, right? So it's including purchases. I believe that it is a privacy issue I would not like Facebook to know what I'm buying, to be honest. So I think the future should be where cross-border payments are instant, frictionless, low transaction fee. I love to travel, so I would want to go to the Caribbean and be able to spend cash there very quickly without having to worry about it, right? I don't want to have to go to the mental capacity of exchanging, physical currency. I'd like it to be frictionless, right? So to summarize, I'd like to see a central bank digital currency and country by country. I'd like to see some sense of anonymous peer-to-peer, smaller micro payments to be initiated for privacy concerns. And I'd like to see, the option to have physical cash in case, my phone runs out of battery or I lose my credit card or something. Yeah,
right.
That's it.
Excellent, excellent. I think I saw Videa unmute, and then Anna, and then we'll finish off with Miguel.
Okay. So I'm taking a more macro view on what the digital economy would look like, because I think what we'll see, and this is to touch on what John was saying as well, governments are coming more and more into this. So we probably see, you know, more of a digital governance model from a government society as well, which would support more for digital economy. I think you're going to have more economies coming on board. It's not just the sophisticated ones in Europe and in Asia. We're going to see all parts of India, all parts of Pakistan, Africa, all little islands, South America, all of them that don't actually have this. You're going to see more and more of them coming in. So this group of unbanked, and Miguel, you touched on that as well. There's so many unbanked people. This gives them probably a simpler AML and KYC mechanism, because, you know, that's a risky part of it, so that they can have some form of banking as well. So I think like the economies themselves will start to grow and benefit from it, but then we'll have more for AI driven society as a result of that, because you're gonna, whilst we don't want people to know where we're spending our money, inevitable, that's gonna happen. So we probably see, you know, you heard it here first, you'll see Google Marketplace. So they're gonna just annihilate, you know, Amazon, because Google has everybody on it. You're gonna, you know, I think it's gonna be very, very interesting, but it's not going to be just the digital part of it. There's a central core that's going to happen that wraps around that digital, that is that whole fintech brain. And the currency part of it, or transacting, is one mechanism of closing a transaction. But you have a lot of logistics that happen in a circular economy for that final process. All of that is going to come online, and then it's going to, the currency aspect, just close that deal. So it could be very, very interesting.
Love it, love it. Heard it here first, right? Thanks, Videa. Anna, let's keep it going, and then Miguel.
Yeah, so talking about digital economy, I would definitely agree with the frictionless, seamless experience. This is a kind of must-have, something that I would really love to see, and especially in the areas of focus. And I would say these are like digital payments, digital assets, and digital identity on top of that. And in terms of interface, so the way we are just doing transactions, making transactions, or just making payments, or just basically having access to all these services, not only financial ones, I would really love to, you know, emphasize that we used to talk about the digital, like, you know, online internet banking, or, you know, financial services payments. Then we were saying that it's mobile first, it's a mobile world. But what I would love to see is conversational interface. So as said, conversational payments, banking for financial services. So this is a kind of a new normal, and this is again a frictionless, seamless interface, even natural one, if we communicate as, you know, just human beings. So with use of AI, definitely could be possible. So I would say, like, you know, I would love to see more conversational banking projects. And last but not least, and I really echo on that with Videa, is we also talked about financial inclusion. Yeah, so just trying to, you know, just to cover underbanked or unbanked, you know, just communities or populations. But I would even say, like, if this is a broader perspective, you have to be digitally enabled, or you have to be digitally fit or included. This is not only, you know, financial part, but definitely like a broader digital perspective. And it really just covers, like, you know, just these two words. First, this is like, you know, companies that already embark on this digital transformation journey, and we'll definitely see more of this projects, but also traditional businesses that want to, you know, make more, you know, digital, and consumers and users that have to be, like, you know, also part of this digital journey.
Excellent, love it. Great perspective, Anna. Miguel, let's go ahead and round us off here. What you know, what should this look like? And we're going to try and end at about 3 minutes to the hour, if that's okay.
Okay. Thank you, Jason. I shared the concerns of Videa and Anna, and we know that in the near future, more than 70% of the interaction between people, companies, and states will be in digital forms. All over the world, companies and governments are transforming their process in order to human interaction be only residual. But this way of digital economy with undeniable benefits that allows any citizens to have the service they need in real time and at zero or on a very low cost. It is the right thing, but we need to ensure that all enablers for the digital economy are available. And fundamental enabler is the broadband network access, and we know that is not available for everyone. About I think 20% of the population in the most developed countries and over 40% of the population do not have broadband in their homes. So the key to this new digital economy is to leave no one behind and make the internet a utility like electricity, gas or water available in every house, in every house. See, naturally the paths of the digital economy must follow the rules of common sense and good management and be customer oriented, provided an excellent user experience, eliminate any friction that may exist, using the data as the oil of the new business, and allow personalized experience for each user. I think that probably the next big disruptor will be the 5G that will enable more and more innovative services, and I'm very interested in attending the next roundtable and to understand what is coming up in terms of 5G. I think also with what is commonly called artificial intelligence, the data processing with machine learning and deep learning algorithms, we will have more disruption and innovation in the data driving business, I think. But let's see.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Miguel. Thank you, Miguel, Videa, Anna, John, Radboud. Thank you so much to our speakers. You have been wonderful. Truly, it's excellent to have people with your kind of experience, your level of experience and influence in the industry here. It's just fantastic, and from all over the world, out of necessity. But that's this is why this could be the future. I don't know. We'll see. But thank you so much for giving time. Yes.
We would like to thank you and BizzTalk for what you guys are enabling and doing. Because without you, I mean, bringing people together and sharing these thoughts, it's not really happening. So to you and the rest of BizzTalk and Doug, amazing, great work. So thank you for having us.
Thank you, Videa. Always a pleasure.
Yeah, it was a pleasure to be part of this roundtable. This is a kind of a different concept that we normally have. So of course there are different digital online meetings, but this one is really awesome. So I enjoyed it very much. Thank you, guys.
I echo that. It's not very round, my screen, but it feels like a round table.
We should probably come up with a new name for it. We need to let John go to bed now. I think we've kept him up late enough, maybe.
I've had I'll be around. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Jason. Thank you, everyone. Let's keep in touch on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Bye.
Thank you, Jason. Thank you.
We'll certainly be inviting all of you back for another event. So don't worry about that. And in a couple minutes, join us for 5G and FinTech. It should be a fun one.
Okay. Thank you. See you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Take care, everyone. Thanks again.
Bye-bye.